So I blamed middle command in the Navy. You don't have the guts to do your job because you're afraid of your career.
Having been born in Italy, coming to America as a child, the first formative experience in Adone Calderone's life was searching for employment in the middle of the Great Depression. When opportunities failed to materialize, Adone turned his attention to the United States Navy.
There was just no jobs. The Depression was terrible, And then this deal came up with the Navy. If you sign up for 6 years, you go to music school, you come out with an associate degree.
A musician at heart, Adone jumped at the opportunity and soon found himself at Pearl Harbor, stationed aboard the battleship USS West Virginia.
We'd go out on ships and entertain the crews. There was no television. Those guys would get up and sailors would dance. The Navy treated me very good. I wasn't thinking on a war started that quick.
By now, it's common knowledge that the Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor was an unprovoked surprise. But what is not so well known is that there were several early warning signs that went either unnoticed or disregarded. As far as Adone is concerned, there are two sides of the Pearl Harbor story.
You want to hear the BS or you want to hear the truth? 6 o'clock in the morning, there was a Japanese submarine spotted. They didn't do nothing. Don't you think it'd be a good idea to pick up the phone or the radio and call headquarters? General Short on an inspection tour. He says, "Where's the airplanes?" He says, "They're hidden." Well, the Japanese might sabotage them, put them out in the middle of the field. How about the guy on the radar? He says, "My God, look at the airplanes coming in." The guy said, "Better call it in." The officer says, "Don't worry about it." He had to live with that for the rest of his life. So I blamed middle command in the Navy. You don't have the guts to do your job because you're afraid of your career. When you're in command of something and you think it's wrong, call. The worst thing you're going to do is get hell. Don't worry about your career. They said, "Don't notify me because they'll get everybody all excited." Yeah, we got real excited about 45 minutes later. Then the first hit, I thought somebody ran into us. Everything started shaking. And a big explosion. And then I knew that was a torpedo.
Adone rushed to his post aboard the West Virginia, hoping to find a phone he could use to call for help. But as he made his way below decks, he was met with a grim discovery.
The whole compartment was just destroyed. One of the officers came, and then one by one, guys started trickling in. They were all damage control people. And he said, "We're going to have to counterflood."
Due to the extensive damage the West Virginia had sustained, she began to list heavily to one side. The crew was forced to counterflood in hopes of uprighting the ship.
And we went down a couple of decks and they started opening valves and busting keys that control the valves. You could feel the ship doing this. It's actually coming down pretty good. The only trouble is the water was coming up here. And I'm looking up to the top and I'm seeing water coming from the top.
The counterflooding was a success, and the West Virginia began to level out. But now water was quickly filling the lower decks, with Adone and several other sailors trapped inside.
Then the lights went on. And I mean, it's dark. And then somebody said, "There's a funnel, the next compartment. We open up this compartment, we can go up through that tube." How about if it's flooded? If it's flooded, you die. Open the door and water down here. So we held hands, and we were bobbing up and down. And we went down, and it went up the tube. I'm pushing up there, guys kicking my head, I'm kicking other guys' head, grabbing anything, helping each other. Finally, somebody pulled me out. And I went plop. Just laid there, I couldn't pick up a toothpick. They're all laying around, just looking at each other.
For the first time since the attack began, Adone was now able to take in the horrific scene around him. Japanese planes filled the sky. The U.S. Navy did their best to fight back, and the West Virginia was hit by yet another torpedo.
And that explosion, it knocked me on my cannon. I'm like semi-unconscious. I was laying there, and I heard some guys talking. Is this one dead? And I waved my fingers like this. He said, no, he's alive.
Adone was rushed to a makeshift hospital, where he was just one of hundreds wounded, many of them dying.
They had all these guys on the stretchers, and they were marking who they think they could save and who's too far. See, some of the guys are burning bad.
The attack soon ended, but it was no time to rest. It was now a race against the clock to salvage what was left of the Navy fleet.
Then an officer came in and says, we don't want to lose our ship, we need help. Everybody went. That was my home. Nobody else cared about me except the West Virginia. We fought the fires for 2.5 days. There was no bickering. There was nobody crying. But I'll tell you one thing, everybody became a man that day. Everybody became a man. The next morning, I was talking to the guys. He said, did you hear the word? They want all the musicians to report to so-and-so receiving station. Then the guy says you have to take a pledge of allegiance. Pledge of allegiance for what? He says, because if you talk now, you have two choices. Either you're executed or you go to penitentiary the rest of your life. If you tell anybody what we're doing there today. That gets your attention.
Because of their ability to quickly read, understand, and respond to notes on a page, the musicians had been chosen to serve as Navy intelligence specialists. Adone spent the remainder of the war encoding and decoding secret messages and hand-delivering them to the likes of Fleet Admiral William Halsey. To this day, Adone refuses to disclose the contents of the messages he handled, continuing to honor the oath he took over 75 years ago. As recent as 2017, Adone Calderone, at 97 years old, continued to travel regularly, speaking to crowds about his wartime experience and the history of Pearl Harbor. It was more than just an event in his past, but a moment in his life that will never leave him.
I can't forget Pearl Harbor. Every day. And if you talk to anybody who's in combat, he'll tell you the same thing. Some guys will shrug it off, some guys say, I think about it every day. I dreamt about it for a long time. Don't you think I had those dreams about the hands? Not as many as I used to have. I'd wake up in a cold sweat. What am I going to do, bother my wife? I talked to guys. I said, tell me your problem. I listen to him. You don't need a lecture. He needs somebody to listen to him. I said, I have those nights too.
Hey everyone, I'm Josh from Memoirs of WWII, and I just want to say thank you for watching this episode and also give you an opportunity to join up with what we're doing. We're dedicated to reaching as many veterans of the Second World War as we can, both here in the US and across the world, but we're running out of time. The youngest World War II veterans are in their 90s, and every day we're losing more and more of them. So here are 3 simple ways that you can join with us. First, consider supporting us through Patreon. Patreon is a subscription-based service that keeps projects like this one going. Second, you can share these videos with your family and friends. It's a great way to honor these veterans and get these stories out there. And finally, consider subscribing to our YouTube channel and click the notification bell so you don't miss a single episode. Thanks again for your support, and thank you for watching.